people are meeting each other on the digital world. And last but not least, because we are doing the business, right? So will your customer be willing to pay the money for your service? This is the key. And second, the IP of the digital expression. A lot of people say we have to do the digital expression because we could get the subsidies from the government. But if you do not have your own IP, actually your work is not sustainable. And you could take advantage of the times, but definitely if you do not have the right IP, you will not be successful. Number three, the technology. Different from the traditional one, digital ones need the advanced technology. So we have to have the iteration of the technologies. For the traditional one, probably it will stay the same for 10 years. But for the digital one, you're going to fail if you have no change in 10 years. And number four, the key actually lies on the content. Like the page view of your website is quite low, and then people will not like to stay on your page for a long time. This is because of your content, and you have to know the expectation of your customer group. You have your target market. Those are two quite important. And you have to meet the requirements of the quality customers. And by doing so, you are not only just showing your contents on the platform. Actually, you are more likely to share the knowledge. Next one is about the buyers and the sellers. And also, we know that we're going to empower the digital trade by digital expression, and then we are going to further promote the quality of the digital trade. And number six, irreplaceable, because this is the resources of the private domain, and it has lots of the power and resources. Actually, at least for Informa, lots of the resources for us could not be replicated by us in a short period of time. Next one is an integrated marketing. And when we're speaking of the digital economy, we have to combine resources online and offline. Actually, you cannot say because we're doing a digital one, we don't need to offline resources. Actually, only by connecting the two can you have more resources. Next one is about the ecological transition. And the later one, I share with you the eco tree. I'm going to share more. And this is the expectation that we integrate online and offline. For a company, you have to have an inventory. You know what is in your inventory. Without knowing it, I don't think you're going to be successful in marketing. At least you cannot achieve the optimal one. And this is just some of the cases. And it is doesn't include all the modes, like the banner of the website and the webinars. And those were what we call it as the resources in the past. Now we have more. And recently, I made a summary of the ecological relationship between digital expression and digital trade. And limited by the space here in a slide. So here I just make the basic framework, and you could see to the right expressions, and to the right the minimum programs. And also in addition to that, we could do more. And they are quite important. And Also, to support that, we need lots of the data, such as the public domain metrics. Let's take a look at those three, and they could be integrated. Now let's take a look at the factors of the ecosystem. And the basic ones is in the exhibitors, probably dozens and hundreds. What do they like to meet? Definitely the audience and the buyers. So the core resources are audience and buyers. So this is the key. And focusing on that to the right, because you could see the words. I will not elaborate on that. So hope this diagram going to help you understand it. And speaking of the improvement from the aspiration for the digital trade, first capture the properties of the customers and then its behavior capacities. Without knowing that, I don't think you're going to empower the digital trade. You don't know what the customers need. And if you have no idea what they are browsing, what they are buying, you're not going to be successful. That's when the platform matchmaking and data processing capabilities. I have give you some case studies. All mean that this capability is quite important. And that's when the offline-online resource integration. Last but not least, the multidisciplinary talents and the iterative capabilities. So if you are not ready as a company, you couldn't achieve that by joint venture and collaboration. I'm going to share two cases, and then we are working on the global DT trade with Mr. Gu, and then involving the area jewelry, garment, etc. different areas. So we hope that we could better apply the global DT trade so as to take advantage of more opportunities. In the 2020 CRE, the biggest optical conference, a delegation led by the authorities of the Shanxi paid a visit to the conference, and actually we could achieve more. It is because of the epidemic that we could not do that. And because of the conference, however, and we signed lots of the optical mechanical projects and valuing over 30 billion RMB, and also some of them have been put into operation. So all in all, I would like to say that the digital aspiration could achieve a lot, and also we focus on the needs of the customers. Thank you for listening.
刚才说让同事把这张刚才张明冷最后一页 PPT 可以再打回来，让大家
Can we go back to the last slide of the presentation? So you could scan the QR code to add the WeChat account of Ms. Zhang. As you mentioned, the global DT trade and your understanding of the digital aspiration, I hear quite seriously, and even take notes. Later we could discuss more in the panel discussion. Thank you, Mr. Zhang Ming.
好的，我们听完了全球最大的
And after hearing the sharing from Informa, one of the biggest aspiration organizers, we're going to hear more. But I'm quite honored today to have the representative from Tencent Cloud and Tencent Enterprises. We're going to welcome the VP of Tencent Cloud, Zhang Ye, to share with us And then he's going to share with us how they get engaged in the exhibition. And more is about the technical application. So we're going to have a better understanding of their practice. For example, the Guangzhou Expo. And before I discussed with Zhang Ye, and I found out he's going to share many case studies. Actually, personally, I'm expecting to hear that. And now let's welcome Zhang Ye. Thank you, Mr. Gu, for your introduction. And Mr. Zhang's presentation is impressive. Actually, he has shared his takeaways from the Expo industry, and also he's sharing it quite important for other industries like the private domain. Tencent's WeChat is one of the cases. And also he talked about the calculation for the data and then about knowing your customers. Those are key takeaways. And today I'm quite honored to join this first Expo, and I'm quite honored to join this string session.
First, I'd like to share with you Tencent's strategies in industrial internet, our latest work and the future directions. First, after the 930 reform in 2018, Tencent had comprehensively embraced industrial internet, and last year we had promoted the strategy of promoting the sustainable value innovation. And for Tencent, we had been assisting the industrial development and the creation of the commercial values with our services and products. And in the past 3 years, we had been focusing on the social media, communication, marketing, safety, etc. And together with our partners, we had created over 400 products and services, including the infrastructures for the cloud, such as the infrastructure for computing, storage, and audio-video. And we also had covered the application in many sectors, such as the convention industries. And based on the real-time audio and video capabilities, we created a Tencent conference. And we had served for hundreds of millions of the users during the pandemic. And we were thinking about how to assist the more efficient communication during the pandemic. And also, we have to cooperate to WeChat and Tencent Files, supporting tens of millions of the SMEs and also larger companies to increase their productivity and efficiency in the workplaces. And from the marketing to the after sales, we have a very high penetration, and the market share in CM also had ranked #1, and we support the customers to better connect with the upstream and downstream. And with our digital and smart capabilities, we can improve the user experience, and we can improve the acquisition of the customers to transactions and to the repurchasement, etc. And our safety products had also exceeded millions of installations. And in the future, we're going to establish 3 benchmarks. The first is the benchmark of the products. We're going to continuously develop the toolkit of digitalization, and the second is the technology benchmark, and the third is the ecosystem benchmark. And we would create a larger space for the partners to develop. For example, we developed together with Mr. Gu the digital trade pass, and we have been integrated the Tencent Cloud into the other products of our partners so that we can better empower the digitalization of the industries. The theme today is digital convention and digital trade. So I'd like to report to you 3 cases over the past 2 years. And the first is the Canton Fair. We had innovated and collaborated with Canton Fair to organize events online. And in the beginning of 2020, our team had deeply felt the changes and challenges in the convention industry. There was a big challenge for us because of the pandemic, and also the team worked around the clock and took the lead to develop the first online convention platform. And over the past 3 years, we iterated it and helped it to integrate with the offline events. And there are 6 characteristics of this system. The first is that it is spanning the time and space, connecting the world. And based on the capabilities of Tencent Cloud, we're able to connect tens of millions of the buyers and sellers in over 200 countries and regions. And the second highlight is that no matter you have access to this network from which region in the world, regardless of the signal qualities, because in some of the regions the connectivity of the internet is not so good, and with our audio-video technologies and algorithms, we can allow the conferences and live streamings to be more smooth. And the instant messages can also be better. And the sellers and buyers online can have a better experience in communicating with each other online. And we also provide machine translation to remove the barriers in language. We know that the ultimate goal of convention and exhibition is to connect the demand and the supply side, and we can have the efficient matchmaking and promote the deals. So with the smart and digital technologies, we can increase the precision matchmaking. And we call this product CPD, and this is a mid-function of data, and it can report large amounts of the events online, and it has the real-time computing, analysis, and prediction capability. Imagine if a platform had been used by tens of millions of the people, then it will produce hundreds of billions of the data. And how can we screen the data that is interested by people? With the CDP, we can really make this platform smarter. And also, the smart recommendation is quite critical for B2B and B2C. You should understand the preferences of the consumers and recommend the content to them. And this is the key for driving the transaction. And also, we need to have more targeted and accurate presentation of the search results. And also, based on the labels and portraits of the buyers, we can recommend the corresponding sellers to them, and we can enhance the possibilities and efficiencies of the transactions. And in terms of the flow of the convention and exhibition, we know that we have a large amount of the products to be managed digitally, and we need to list and delist the products digitally, and also we have the processes of inquiries and quotes. And the connection of these processes is very important, so we have used the mid function of data to promote the smooth operation. But of course, we connect those these platforms, and with CDP, we can have the real-time analysis of the consumer behaviors, and we can understand whether there is any pain points or stacking points when they are searching for the products, whether there is any areas that can be optimized. So we can optimize the rules for the business or optimize our designs of the structures so that experience of the users of the platform can be optimized. And another aspect for digital convention, also very important, that is to upgrade our service capabilities. So we need to start from the customer service capability. And we should have the all-channel connectivity. For example, we have the private traffic, such as the video accounts and public WeChat platforms of Tencent. Those are the private traffic, and we also have the public traffic, such as or offline smart devices. And these can be the entry of the traffic. And then with the robotics technology and the database, we can provide 24/7 services in a smart way so that the experience of the users can be improved. And we can connect the traffic between the public and the private pool. We can direct lots of the public traffic into the private pool, and with the collective operation or the one-on-one operation, we can improve the user experience and drive the conversion. And once we have a better understanding of the demands of the users and have a more accurate portrait, then we can have a more accurate placement of advertisements and reach the users more targetedly. The last feature is the integrated marketing between the public and the private traffic. And with the digitalization and smart data analysis, we can have a better understanding of the demand of the users. And then with the private pool, we can have more targeted reach. And it's not a very untargeted recommendation of the content. Instead, based on the needs of the users, we can have the targeted recommendation. And also in retail, in tourism and culture, we have the engine of the membership and the credit scores. And I believe that this is also of great potential in the conventional industry. For example, we hope that the users can have some sharings on their social medias, and we want them to be our ambassadors, and we can encourage such behaviors with scores. And the last part is about improving the effect of advertisement. And after 3 years of the practices, we have upgraded this platform, improved the experience, and enhanced efficiency. And we also had broken the boundaries of time and space with the online operations. And we also had provided unlimited possibilities for new business models for the future. And the second part of the theme is digital trade. And we had cooperated with Jianfa Group. And we had launched the industrial internet platform of paper. And this is also a large industry with trillion of scale. And Jianfa has its market share ranking #1. And we wanted to improve its transaction capabilities, trade capabilities, and operation capabilities. And we wanted to open this capability and share it with the whole industry. So we had used the MID function, and this platform is extremely open because we want to empower the development of the industry, and we would bring together the capabilities of all sorts of the companies, maybe a trader, maybe a manufacturer, maybe a packaging company, or maybe a financial service provider or a logistics company. All of these companies can access our platform, and we can use this mid-office to connect every process. And we really wanted to enrich the model of the trade, for example, the fixed price and the differentiated pricing, etc. And also with the support of the financial service providers, based on the credibilities, we can have the financing and the loans. And also with the cloud warehouses of the paper products and the distribution network around China, we can improve the efficiency of logistics with a lower cost. And we can really support the efficient development of the cash flow, product flow, and information flow. And this MID function is a very good architecture based on cloud native. It supports multi-tenants, and it also supports the metadata-driven development. And for the official website in the front side, and for the procedures at the back end, as well as the models, we can have very convenient iterations and updates. And for the markets that is changing so fast, we have to quickly respond to those changes. And the last case is how to use AI plus social media and SaaS to empower the digitalization of the conventional industries. And let me give you some examples. The first is the logistics and also the packagings and electronic parts. And the feature of this industry is that they are deployed in a large range of areas, and there are so many different models. It's difficult to match the models between upstream and downstream, and there is a lot of manual interference, and the cost of labor is very high, and the efficiency of the industrial chain and supply chain is relatively low. So the products and solutions we provide focus on three things. The first is socializing. So we use QQ and WeChat and some of the other easy-to-use applications to allow the users to easily find their upstream and downstream partners and to find their suppliers, the partners, and products easily. And the second is to increase the efficiency of the trade. For example, we had used natural language semantic understanding and OCRs to automatically identify the intentions of the buyers and to provide the lead of the business. And then with CR and VRP information, we can have the second level automatic inquiry. And with the OCR recognition, the order efficiency can be greatly increased. And every day, we can process tens of millions of the inquiries. And the feedback from the customer is that their efficiency had been increased by 5 to 10 times. And last but not least, we need a SaaS, ACI. For example, we need an integrated working bench because it is quite complicated. We need the tier 1 and the tier 2 distributors, and we also need to coordinate the logistics, customs clearances, and shipping companies. And we can use an integrated way to coordinate every step on the way.
And in addition to the enhancement of efficiency, we are going to put more assets into the SaaS, then to increase the operation capability, then increase the quality of the service, and increase the loyalty and then the repurchase rate. Later, we could tap into the potential customers. This is how digitalization empowers the project so as to increase the efficiency. As time is limited, I have already shared 3 case studies. Also, our work in practice. Behind those work, we haven't mentioned our Tencent service platform, also important parts of the work, either for the service, the transaction, or the ASPO. We have our products to support those functions. Under it, we have the CDP-centered mid platforms, so as to connect different departments to reduce the boundary. And these smart technologies and products could be incorporated into the solution, for example, by Informa, so as to increase the efficiency and the speed of the trade. That's all for my sharing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Zhang Ye, for your sharing. Actually, for some of parts of the presentation, it is hard to understand. When communicating with Tencent, I have some feelings. When you don't understand some of the ideas, you have to feel alert. For example, we have heard about the Guangzhou ASPO and the other 2 cases. You could see such an internet giant could be engaged in the trade and marketing. Then you could see something quite important have changed. So, all the saying in Laozi, it means that actually elephant has no shape. You could Baidu or Google it to understand this word. And then later we're going to welcome the next speaker. And then his topic is about seeking the elephant. So later I'm going to welcome Li Jian, the chairman and general manager of Hangzhou Expo Group. So we could feel that Hangzhou Expo Group, though young, has established itself by the new mindsets and a solution. So we could know how does it build the network, and also it has built the model called 1, double, and 3. Now let's welcome Li Jian to share with us on the topic of the first global digital trade expo digital innovation practice. Now let's welcome. Actually, Mr. Gu hasn't shared my WeChat name, seeking the elephant. Indeed, it is from Lao Tzu's words. As Zhang Ming said, this industry evolves a lot. So you have to stay curious about everything if you work in this industry. And also, actually, you're going to get out from it what you haven't seen. So today I'm going to share on this topic. In Zhang Ye's presentation, I have many takeaways. So they are not only our partners, but they also could be one of an exhibitor. So in the past 1 year, and we have communicated with informers for a long time. So we are quite happy to have an informal here and also establish the good platform here. So here I'm going to share with you some practices in the digital economy, and I also welcome suggestions. It is the process from 0 to 1. We are lucky still. It is because we have 2 unique arrangements. The first, we have the attendance of an informer and witness the evolution of the expo industry in the world. And then from the traditional expo to the digital ones, and they have this function, the smart events. So you could see their gradual exploration in the transition. And for Tencent, it is born in the development of the internet. So it is born in the new digital era. This is empowered by the digital technologies, and their model is based on the digital technologies. For us, the Hangzhou Expo Group, we are based in Hangzhou, strong city in digital economy. So what can we do in this era? And we have been established for 1 year, and this is what we are thinking. So we are happy that we have born in the good time. And then for this digital trade expo, we think that we have to grabs the opportunity for our development. So in the fierce competition, actually every unit efforts of each are valuable, they are inspirational. So here one sentence to summarize.
数贸会的数字的创新和实践里面，跟大家简单说一下。首先呢，我们刚才也看到，就一体化的概念，就是
Those are
我
words.
觉得在数字时代，
So in the era of the
要求我们
digital economy,
都开始
all the industries are encouraged to
这个一体化的本质来自于
consider the questions in an integrated way.
来自于我们现在航天航空工程，对吧？
And then we know currently the former governor of Zhejiang province, and then he proposed the idea of an integration of industries, and I suppose because you have to be supported by data.
对吧？它在出产之前，在各种实验验证阶段，它会在数字化的模型甚至
And because, for example, in the era of the aerospace, you need to build up the right model, select the right materials.
完成了各种
Then in the
所以这个就是
manufacturing, actually,
带来的最直
it
接
has passed the
启发是什么？你在
tests.
做一个展会的时候，
It means that when you are doing one event,
可能你用数学建模也好，
you could use
测
the
量也好，还是用用户问卷，
modeling
你已经要有一个
questionnaire
思维。所以刚才我
and
们
to
在
support it,
培训
but still, at first, you have to
它的需求是
have the
但是它目的只有一个。
idea about
办
how
数贸会的目的就是
it is
为了打造
manifested.
全球数字贸易中心。所以我们在办数贸会的时候，我们就得
And for
怎么
Hangzhou,
样能够成为数贸会的中心。
and then
这个是我们
it
在做的。
targets
所以
to
这
build
个
it as the center for the digital economy and digital trade. So we, for this digital trade as
所以我
well,
们
we
在
have a
打
clear
的
target.
时候，就是提到就是产业跟会展一体化。
So first, we have to integrate industries and then
那么在
the
整个实践的过
expos.
程中呢，我们就
This is the underlying idea.
叫做一体两元。
And here we have a summary that is
我刚才已经讲到了。
1, 2, 3.
一体规划运营。
So as you
具
can
体表
see,
现出来的就是
one
就是我们有个
is means the integration.
SaaS 或者说一个基础的数字服务能力。
This is about the basic
不同的
service
比如说我们的参展商，
capabilities.
大建商，包括新闻媒体，包括政府的负责人，包括我们的参展
So either for the government,
它都有
media, the exhibitors and contractors, we have our integrated solution to serve them. For example, this is the one QR code for the pass.
这个事情应该说前期经
This is because of the COVID-19.
数据壁垒的打通，比如说
And
举个例子啊，就今
we
天正式下线的这个行程码，但是我们为了连接到这个行程码，甚至
overcome the data barrier because we know
才统一的一个。
we had the tracking code
所以我
at
们
national
做
level
到的最坏的打算就是
was
下
cancelled.
面看到的6个
So we have to use this pass. You could see different codes could be integrated into one,
的信息也好，
either for the
但是在未来一码通行还会同样适用，那么会适用在什么呢？可能就是我们
later
马上要迎来的数字人民币。
for this pass.
如果说用一个码，
It's quite we're going to be applied in more scenarios, and later it's same for the digital currency,
第二个，
and we are going to integrate more functions so as they could be
现在的
used
就像大家都懂的，比如说去
by different
它
cities.
其实是要跟
And next one,
企业在过去几年
we know that if you are going to join in
就是这个
an expo, you have to be surveyed first. For example, your background,
组织机构。
and so
那么还有一个
this is for
今天刚才那个
the
也提到的，就是我们有展商。
organizers to make a
原
judgment.
来我们举个例
Next
子，
one is
原来在广
the
交会的时候，一般都是我带一份名片
one QR code for integration. For example, before we
有没有合作的意向或者有
brought with us the name cards and for the social networking, and now this is the QR code. You can scan it, and then you could know each other. You could know the products of the exhibitors.
贸会之前，你已经知道你要见谁，
So
你要跟
before you join us, you already know what you are going to meet.
当然也包括比如说我们的会议的直播，
And also, we have the function released about the live streaming. And also, you could see this is the dashboard. This is for the management level. So the management are going to have a better idea about the number of the audience, the traffic, the epidemic, and also other services they're going to provide. So for the management and the authorities, they could have the first-hand information. So those are the three we are going to build. This is the basic functions. With that, we could have the driving of the two wheels. And actually, it is borrowed from the philosophy of Amazon. And at the early stage, people discussed whether we should do online event or the offline event. But now we have the coexistence of the digital world and the real world. When you just use the mobile phone, you are online. When you put it down, you are offline. So you don't care about offline or online. Actually, they are coexisting. But you're going to see whether they could increase your efficiency. To be specific, as Zhang said, Expo aims to promote trade. So we aim to promote the efficiency of the matchmaking. So for an Expo, we could see whether we could help the exhibitors to get the value. And for the authorities, they will see whether they could have disruption of the exhibitors and investment. And for the merchants, they are going to see whether they could have the transactions. Actually, it is not about online, offline, as long as they could take a better of the platforms. You could see those digital expo and digital events. And then for three, those are the three products based on the model. And first then is the structure. And then we have three products for three subjects. And the first one is the investment attraction.
所以呢，我们现在呢，应该说是通过展会的。
So we had connected the convention data with different databases of the sectors, and through this platform, we can have more accurate investment promotion for the government. And another product is the digital trade pass, and this is the pass for the convention group. And based on the digital trade expo, we had collaborated with Huiduoduo to develop this platform, and this is about the trade on industries. And with this product, we can help the key industries in Hangzhou to access the overseas high-quality conventions and exhibitions with the support of informal markets. And we already have a lot of examples like that, and we have connected with a lot of partners, and we are helping a lot of the companies to go global in different times and places to promote the industrial trade. And the third is the Me City. And often we say that the value we create is 1 versus 9, and sometimes we believe that we can only see the 1 instead of the 9. And so with that, we had developed the Me City products. And for the business people, on their business trips, we can provide corresponding services. And just now I had showed you the codes, and maybe we can provide 50 yuan in the e-wallet after scanning the code, and after the events, maybe they can scan the code, not necessarily the code of the metro or the public transportations. By using this kind of code, they can enjoy more convenient visiting in the new city. So for people, they can have a better experience of the city. And these are the three main products. And I believe that we had just made the first step, and all of the practices after the conclusion of Digital Trade Expo will be based on analysis of those data. But what I want to say is that in this new era, for people in this industry and for the companies in this ecosystem, the most important thing is to be open enough. Because in the digital area, we have the integrations and the coordinations of different systems and the stakeholders, and any of the party may have its position and role to play. And we have just started digitalization, and there are many areas to be improved, but we can be very proud to say that we had developed from 0 to 1, and from 1 to infinity. We really welcome many companies, including Tencent, to cooperate with us. And in the Wuzhou Internet Conference, we also cooperated with Alibaba. We hope more partners in this ecosystem can join us and to together contribute to the future of digital trade and digital exhibition and conventions. Thank you.
好，我们感谢这个李总精彩的演讲。
Thank you very much,
准备好这个接下来
Mr. Li. And next, we will have 25 minutes of the panel discussion. And we would ask you to scan the code of the mini program on the screen, because we said that different people have different understandings of the same thing. And just now in Mr. Li's presentation, he introduced the concrete practices and the cases. And intangibly, I have felt in Hangzhou that a lot of the officials are talking about senseless. So you would have 2 surprises after scanning this code. And have you realized that actually you had accessed this platform from the mini program of Trade Expo? And you should authorize WeChat and to fill in your mobile phones. And then when you sign in for this conference, you already have your contact number filled in. You don't need to do it manually, because I had discussed with Mr. Zhang Ming in the jewelry exhibition in Hong Kong. One of the presidents would
到香港参加珠宝展的这些展商跟观众要花1个小时
spent about over an
香港中华旅社的一些
hour for the audiences to access the event exhibition, and he believed that it's a great pity that the audiences have to spend an hour to access the venue. But now with the code, we can smoothly switch the platforms and access these interfaces. And in Mr. Li's deck, there was one slide showing you the code. And if you do not know the people sitting next to you, and then you can check your name card, the badges of the conference, and you can scan the code.
直接扫另外一个人胸卡上的小程序码。
You please use WeChat to scan the code of the mini program on the badges of the conference, and you will also be able to see a little surprise. Okay, now let's start the panel, because Mr. Zhang Ye has to drive to Shanghai to deal with some emergencies at the company, and he had asked one of his colleagues to attend the panel. And his colleague is also a very important expert, Mr. Zhang Su, and he is the architect or chief engineer for the Tencent Cloud products, and he is going to be on behalf of Mr. Zhang Ye to have a discussion with the other 2 speakers. Now let's welcome Mr. Zhang Ming, the Vice President of Informal Markets China, and Mr. Li Jian, the General Manager of Hangzhou Expo Group, and Ms.
好的，大家可以这样来做一下，那就有请这个张苏林总，
张苏林
这个张叶总
from Tencent.
好的，3位
Come on to the stage.
水在您的旁边。那么这样，我们刚才我已经感谢大家的提问哈，有2个问题。
We have received 2 questions. And what is the biggest fun for the moderator? That is to ask interesting questions. And two keywords had popped up into my mind, because when we are engaged in the businesses and trade, we would definitely want to earn money, and competition is something that we cannot avoid in the trade. And I myself had been communicating with 200 trade companies, and in the past 5 years I felt that they were very straightforward, and they represent the Zhejiang companies to go abroad and to win the competition. So we only have 25 minutes, so the keywords here are money and competition. So which one do you want me to start first? Money. All right. We would like to talk about how to make money. And in the morning, we have the Hunter Expo Group and informal markets reaching the agreements of developing the global digital trade path together. And in this very sensitive and special period, the two of you, as operators of the business, I believe that you already have sufficient communication. So my question is that how can you help the traders to make money, and how can you make money for ourselves? And we must talk about the real stuff. Okay, now who wants to start first? The collaboration of digital trade paths. What is your original purpose? And let me start from the first question, asking you how to help the companies to make money, and then we can talk about how to make money for ourselves. So maybe Mr. Zhang wanted to give me the chance to make money first. So we decided that I will start first. We need to adapt to the times and live with the trends. Digitalization had improved the efficiency of the trade, and now with the Digital Trade Expo as a platform, we already have over 4,000 companies registered, and it is a great surprise for us. That is, many of those registered companies are in the emerging industries, such as the biomedicine, new material, and high-end equipment manufacturing. And in a long time in the past, in foreign trade of China, we did not have many of these kind of companies, and in some of the high-end exhibitions overseas, we seldomly see the Chinese exhibitors. So with this year's Digital Trade Expo, based on the conventional trade, we also have seen some new signals and products. So how to make money at the company level? First, we need to have the leaders. And that's why we collaborate with informal markets. And through the global conventions of the informal markets, we had selected some that are suitable for the industries in Hangzhou. For example, we have 2 medicine exhibitions in Middle East, and now about 80 companies have decided to go. And this is also a key industry in China. So to be honest, before when we discussed wisdom in the conventions, maybe you know that there are a lot of intermediaries, but now we need to de-intermediary, and we need to have the direct connections with them. And also, we had a lot of discussions with informal markets, and we had told them what are the customers we want to see and what are the customers we want to cooperate. So we already have prepared in advance, and then we can have the communication more efficiently, and it helps us to have more successful orders. And this is the purpose of setting up the platform of digital trade paths. And when we go abroad, we not only need to participate in their exhibitions, but also to organize those events here in China. And we know that informal markets has a lot of great events. And next year, we'd like to bring a lot of great projects of informal markets to Hangzhou next year when we organize the Digital Trade Expo. So we can support the companies in emerging industries to go abroad, and also we can help the overseas companies to access the Hangzhou market and promote the industry development here in Hangzhou. So it is important for the companies to find great partners, and take ourselves as an example. We believe that our collaboration with informal markets is really great. Well, it is really informative, but we can do more than that. So now. The floor is yours, Mr. Zhang Ming. Well, I have something to add. The first is that if the convention exhibition company wants to make money, it's very understandable. But because we believe that only by allowing our buyers and our exhibitors to make money first, we can have a bigger chance to make money. It is because that only when exhibitors have made money, they will recognize the value of your services, and then they are willing to invest more in our platform. And this is a win-win and reciprocal process. Also, I really agree with Mr. Li. Today, Zhejiang has supported tens of thousands of the companies to go abroad, and we have seen the media coverages. And before I come, many companies had called me, can I join the event now? So I thought that next year, when the spring had come, when we no longer need to wear the facial masks, a responsibility for us, just as what Mr. Li had said, maybe we can introduce more overseas companies to China, to Hangzhou, and they don't even to buy the air tickets. They can use a very virtual way to attend those events, and maybe they are more willing to spend more money on our platform. And when we can save money for them and help them to make money, then we can have a win-win. So thirdly, we have been focusing on the development, and we wanted to have 365 days of exhibitions and conventions. Well, thank you, Mr. Li and Mr. Zhang. No wonder you can collaborate with each other, and congratulations again for your successful cooperation. And Mr. Zhang Sulin from Tencent Cloud, although you are responsible for the technology side, and I still have a question to you about how to make money. Maybe you can switch the perspective a little bit, because over the past 3 years, the pandemic was a big promoter for the digital convention and exhibition. And the big players of Hangzhou, Alibaba, and JD at Beijing has also started their development in digitalization. So after these big companies joining in, what is your advantages and how to make money?
It is true and also quite challenging question. To put it simple, before we did Expo about 3 years ago, Tencent had started to provide some products for the clients in Expo, but still we do not directly provide the service. About 3 years ago, it was a turning point. We got a chance to enter the Expo industry. We thought it was meaningful for us to do that, and we invested time and money, and also joined with the peers to do that. Here, I'm going to share with you about Tencent's thoughts from the strategic perspective. While we say embrace the industrial internet, also empower the industries, and empowerment is one of the key words. And then now we know that because the Expo industry is like a window vein for all the industries, for us to get more customers and then promote the economy. So the Expo industry is what Tencent aspires to do. About 3 years ago, we just had some pilot projects, and now we have our specific departments with experts doing this area's work. Second, from the technical point, Tencent has some of the advanced technologies like social networking, telecommunications, actually and naturally fits the Expo industry. could support the live streaming and then also online conference. Those are the technologies required for these functions. And as large as the world, we could support stable quality. So this is our technical advantages. Number 3, in recent years, we have some thoughts in products for Tencent. It is the data-empowered marketing. We have many dimensions to do the products like the smart recommendation inquiry, so as to match the buyers and the sellers. Also, we provide the all-in-one solution so as to help the organizers to do the operation. At this point, it is about money also. Also, we join hand in hand with the organizers of the Expo, and then we think whether we could take a better advantage of the middle office to release more new functions and adopt a new business model so as to help us get more money. For example, whether we could provide better marketing tools for the exhibitors, so help them to have access to the customers overseas. And if so, the exhibitors could get benefits, and then it's the same case for us. And for the digital middle office, and it could achieve the analysis of the data so as we have a better understanding of the platform operation. And after analysis, we could see what is not optimal, so what kind of optimization can we do. And last but not least, Tencent focuses on the building of an ecosystem. We focus on the partners a lot. Also, we have the cooperation with WeMeet. Also, we work with Hangzhou Expo Technology, doing the global DT trade. So partners are quite important for Tencent. So we could better serve our customers. Thank you, Mr. Zhang, for your sharing. Actually, I've got a lot from one question, one keyword. Also, the frequently talked keyword, that is the reduce cost and increase efficiency. As Zhang Min said, the charter flight. Also, Mr. Li said the Zhejiang authorities go overseas to get the orders. And before we use the connecting flights, now we could fly directly there. So efficiency is quite important. This is how could the Expo industry establish a new model. So for the Expo industry, they could take a better way to increase the efficiency and empowered by the up-to-date technologies, and then reduce the cost with high efficiency, and then we're going to incorporate more buyers and sellers. Does it sound excellent? Anyone would like to add some points? So that's good summary, right? And we have talked about money. Now let's turn to competition. And when speaking of competition, we know trade companies face the fiercest competition. They will go to Africa and Southeast, the Middle East, and so as to avoid some mature market like Europe. So we know companies made a choice based on the competition, and also we know Informa has experienced many changes. For example, one of the factors is the epidemic. Also, in your mission, you have a quite clear target. Hope that revenues of 2024 will be the same as that of 2019. So I will going to ask Zhang Ming, and then you are VP of Informa, and definitely you face a lot of the challenges and the competitions. So how do you see that? So for your first question, in the global arena, lots of people hope that 2014 will be as promising as 2019. Actually, last year we had a return to the level of that of 2019, but still this year is not that promising. And either for the money or competition, I think it is dynamic. If we couldn't help customers to have some breakthroughs, then we could enjoy an edge over others. So we could be faster, more money saving, and covering more areas for faster. In the service for customers, if the service and events provided by Informa could help customers win opportunities and money quicker than others, then this is definitely your advantage. Second, money saving. You have mentioned the reduction of the cost and enhancement of the efficiency. And then we know cost effectiveness is quite important. And then either find it for the events or join online, as long as it could reduce the cost to some degree, and for the return of higher returns going to be good for your customers. Next one, for example, his previous budget could only reach 5 customers, but if empowered by Informa, they couldn't have access to 50 customers with the same budget, then why don't they choose Informa? So this is also one of the keys. And next one, for 2024, we also have a target. Digital revenue could be 40% of the total, but still, it is a high target. And then for us, actually, for our revenue in digital, it is about 7 to 8 billion RMB. Actually, I don't think many companies couldn't reach our scale. So I think if we're going to achieve a high level, it's going to be quite challenging. So I hope that we could have more partners to make a better work. So later, what are we going to increase the share for the target of 2024? And then probably it is dynamic. And then I think you already be quite fast. You have joined hand with Hangzhou Expo industry. I hope later you could make cooperation continuously. Now we have a question about the mini program. The question to Li Jian.
就是您这个，我把这个问题给您读出来啊。
I'm going to read the question.
数字会展经济助力城市产业发展。
We know that the digital economy could support the city development. Would you like to give us a case?
这个3面里面的命杭州，因为你在做贸易的时候不要
You
忘了。
mentioned that you have 3 products. You should also keep in mind the customers. Thank you for your question. This isn't not only about the product of Mi Hangzhou, the mini program in our industry, and a large number of the events are hosted by the governments. We are building a model. And 2 days ago, I wrote an article about the relation of three. We should focus on three areas. First, governments. We have the platforms for the investment attraction, for example, the medical park in the Chinatown district. So we need to connect the upstream and the downstream players, and also help the government to find their target companies, also find the companies to find their target experts. Second, relation between the expo and the companies. And Zhang Ming has explained it well. And in the process of the investment attraction, the government will think that they have finished their job when they attract the talents to settle down and give them money. Then it is done. But actually, if you want to work on and attract more, you cannot neglect one. This is whether you could provide the trade opportunities for the enterprises that have settled down. So this it is the second point. That is why we have the global DT trade, and if we could help matchmake those resources and companies, then they are going to more willing to stay. So in these several days, we could see that the Xixi elevator would like to have their product launch here in this expo, so they could take a better use of the resources and also save the cost. And then thirdly, relation between the expo and the cities. Later, we have the ratio of 1 to 9. Empowered by the digital economy, and we had a data in 2019, the expos could attract 4 million visitors. If each one spends 1,000 RMB, then it would greatly promote the revenues of one city. So as for Ms. Meng's question, it is how to do well those three relations.
好的，感谢3位
Thank you, all three panelists.
我们这个环节那个按时按照主办方的要求。
And we had finished the panel discussion in time according to the agenda. Let's take a photo together.
意犹未尽的感觉是最好的感觉。好，可以了，好，谢谢各位，好，谢谢。来，再拍一张，拍一张，好，谢谢，好，谢谢啊，好。
Thank you.
那么这个我们今天这个下午的环节，第一个环节。
This is the end of the first part of the afternoon session.
收拾这个舞台。好，那再次感谢各位。
Thank you again.
再次提醒，跟这些嘉宾的这个一键互动，拿您的微信只要扫他们。
And don't forget to scan the code on the badge. And then you can continue your communication with our guests. Thank you again.
我们好的。
各位观众，我们下一个环节。
Okay, we will start the next session in 5 minutes.
各位观众，我们下一环节即将开始。上场音乐上。
大家下午好。
Good afternoon, everyone.
我知道大家今天早上听完这么多的session，
After listening to all the sessions in the morning, I'm not sure what you're feeling now. And what I like to share is that in 2000, I believe that many of you in this room must have been born. And in 2000, it was the year of the internet boom. And there was a famous saying that is, content is the king. I'm not sure whether you had tracked the first year for the development of cloud computing. I believe it was in 2006, and then in 2008, in the two sessions, I had proposed the development of content in the area of cloud computing, and now we are in 2022, and we are attending the first Global Digital Ecosystem Summit. And what had changed this year, I like to call on a new concept that is also a concept followed by this conference. That is, we had entered into an age of experience as the king. So in the afternoon, I am delighted to host this forum, and I am from F5 Network in North Asia. I am Larry. So actually, in the plenary session in the morning, another guest is also called Larry. So today, we have a very exciting session. Through the sharings in those sessions, we can further interpret the technological logics in the ecosystem of digital application. And first, let's welcome Michael Hackle. And he is going to share with us. Sorry about forgetting about your topic today. Well, he is an expert of industrial internet, and he has a lot of experience in new energy projects, smart IoT, quality check, analysis of big data. And today he is going to share with us something about VR technology, virtual reality, and about the new models for digital trade. Now, let's hand over the floor to Michael. Hello, everyone.
Thank you very much for having me here today. I really appreciate to have the opportunity to talk about the topic digital trading with the technology of virtual reality, especially under the term metaverse. Before we start, I would like to give you a short overview about my person. I studied software engineering and business administration in 1998 in Austria, Audi. I have experience since 25 years in software, IT, and also virtualization, mainly for business-to-business projects. I'm since 2013 in China, mostly in Shanghai, and since 2002 I'm in a Chinese family, so actually I'm half Chinese meanwhile. I'm the founder and CEO of Hackle Technology, or Suzhou Infantitui, and located in Suzhou, Taicang, and Shanghai meanwhile. And we are professionals in digital transformation, and since 2019, I'm an IoT and digital expert. Meanwhile, I'm involved in more than 150 augmented reality and virtual reality projects in China as well as in Germany. And we did also groundbreaking projects, especially for local governments in Shandong, for example, in Liaocheng, regarding artificial intelligence, machine learning, and also digital twins. So under the roof of Industry 4.0 or Made in China 2025. And our newest project actually is a metaverse platform for industries in Taizang. So good, you already heard some terms like AR, VR, MR. When we see these pictures, can be quite confusing, especially for newcomer in this area. If you never intensively work with this kind of technology or never had any experience. So I guess some of you are new in these topics, and I would like to explain you and starting with virtual reality. Well, virtual reality is an immersive experience and also called 100% computer simulated reality. It refers to computer technology using reality headsets to generate realistic sounds, images, and other virtual contents that replicate a real environment or create a completely imaginary virtual world. So VR is actually the way to immerse users in an entirely virtual world or environment. Therefore, the user needs, of course, head-mounted VR devices, or you can also call it VR glasses. And currently, virtual reality is mostly used in the gaming industry, or some kind of new metaverse platforms. So what is XR, extended reality? This is actually a new added term to the dictionary of the technical words. For now, only a few people are aware of XR. Extended reality refers to all real and virtual combined environments and human-machine interactions generated by computer technology and wearable devices. Extended reality includes all its descriptive forms like augmented reality, mixed reality, and of course, virtual reality. In other words, XR can be defined as an umbrella, which brings all three realities, AR, MR, and VR, together under one term, so leading to less public confusion. As a summary, to remember, so virtual reality is actually to immersive people into completely virtual environments, and you have to imagine with these devices from VR, you can interact with 3D objects or with the 3D environment directly. Augmented reality is creating a completely overlay of the virtual content, but actually you cannot interact with these 3D objects. That means you just can see it in front of you. Someone can replicate this augmented reality 3D objects in front of you, but you cannot interact. And mixed reality, this is already called mixed, is actually between virtual reality and augmented reality. And the difference is you see actually the real world, you have your virtual environment, and you can interact with the 3D objects or 3D environment in the real world. A typical example is Microsoft HoloLens 2, if you heard about this. And XR actually brings all three realities, AR, VR, and MR, together under one term. So hype and trend for VR and metaverse. In 2020 until 2022, we recognized a clear uptrend on virtual reality market, especially in the gaming industry. The biggest problem actually was always too less virtual reality content or too low resolution of the content in the hardware. So user got fast quite dizzy, or the experience was actually not that high as they expected. However, with the improvement of VR head-mounted hardware, the metaverse is actually the latest buzzword that has been capturing the imagination of the technical industry and holds significant potential in creating tremendous growth opportunities for marketers, digital trading, allowing them to deliver advanced, immersive, and interactive digital experience to all of their customers. Amidst the COVID-19 crisis, the global market for metaverse estimated in 2021 to $107 billion and is projected to rise a size of $758 billion by 2026. And we will see a lot of new virtual reality, digital trading and metaverse worlds developed by Chinese providers in the next few years. And that they will have for sure a quite high annual growth in future. Morgan Stanley expect 8 billion market volume for digital trading products in metaverse alone in China. Therefore, we are sure metaverse development will not be stoppable anymore. But we will also see new regulations of data traffic and trading across global borders. So companies also will focus on their meetings and trading in future over cross-border metaverse platforms. So what can push digital trading? Nowadays we see we can already find actually various VR metaverse test trading platforms, but actually very few used so far. So what will push the digital trading VR metaverse platform? First, it's clear always the politics. We all recognize a kind of trend decoupling between China and the West, following by technology innovation, competition, especially between US and China as well. And the RCEP agreement, which is actually the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. This is a free trade zone between all the member states. So virtual trading rooms in B2B metaverse will open completely new opportunities. Existing or new restrictions locally business in China, so maybe because of new international business laws or maybe other reasons, then because of cybersecurity, data security law, we expect new regulations of global cross-border trading, possibility of digital trading contracts over blockchain technology, so actually technically already available with smart contracts, but practicable, we will see in future how this will develop. Second, we talk about the economy. So from the economy point of view, new opportunities of business scaling in China. Then we also have new opportunities regarding new business scope, new market development, or how to attract digital customers. But the most important topic is, of course, the possibility of massive cost reductions because of no need physical facilities or not always necessary travels to customers. Then we also have high business efficiency through VR, immersive collaboration possibilities. So you can do your meetings actually in completely virtual trading rooms or meeting rooms. And also new profitable business models like fast sales or new, also totally new license models where you can charge your customer, or participation fees like on virtual events. Then there will also be new innovative virtual service and products available. And of course, we always have to think also to the investors, so especially technology-driven investors, they see here a huge capital market. And we see, of course, a lot more possibility. Regarding high technology, well, high technology, digital technology will improvements because of increasing large computer, big data, and server power. In the next few years, we will see, hopefully, a standard of a fast communication network, because this is still a big problem. So we hope in future there will be more invested in 5G and 6G. Through the e-mobility, the prices of batteries will be decreased, and the battery life will be longer compared with the nowadays batteries. And yes, we also need smaller and lighter and more powerful XR devices with long-time batteries and high-end sensors devices like haptic gloves. So this is actually in the virtual world where you can also feel these virtual products or 3D objects. And also wearable light sensor suits, for example, for movements where you can collect data. It's also interesting for the healthcare. So new e-commerce business models. Well, you can imagine there are a lot great opportunities regarding selling knowledge and training of technology, especially in B2B trading metaverse platforms. So instead of using any catalogs with technical information, the user will experience all information immersive through an animated 3D digital twin model in front of him. Additionally, the user can interact with the complex 3D model machine, get experience with all the functionality, and if this handling is correct with the machine, and you have to imagine, and all this will happen during a professional explanation of all the necessary details from the machine manufacturer in the digital VR trading platform. Regarding shopping in virtual malls, there are also a lot of opportunities. So you have to imagine the metaverse e-commerce. There will be also very high immersive for users as well. So customers, employees, and remote user would be able to have a high touch interactions with all the virtual 3D projects. And additionally, face-to-face meetings, as I mentioned before, between employees without having to be there in person would also be possibility, or a possibility. Also, without leaving the comfort of your room at home, customers would be able to trail all the new virtual projects or real projects, try customizations, and even explore locations. Furthermore, business opportunities that defy the laws of physical reality would be explored. The great potential of this technology as a business model is what has led already several companies to their own omniverses. And, but to be successful, they must understand that the user ventures into the metaverse to escape from the real world because it offers them alluring possibilities of creating their completely own personality, their own reality. to show them as they feel they really are, and taking their user experience to a completely other high level. You can imagine, if you see here the pictures, especially in the middle, the digital trading in future, so metaverse shops, won't be any different from the traditional supermalls and stores we are used at the moment. Except the experience here is entirely online and completely immersive. That means in the virtual world. I just also need to mention, if you see here these people in the middle, these are not avatars anymore, so these are already meta-humans. And the difference between an avatar and meta-human is, an avatar, you notice maybe from the Facebook, this meta, so it looks quite shitty, to be honest. But if you're talking about a meta-human, this really looks like a real human. You cannot see the difference anymore. So this makes this quite powerful if you talk in future with your employees or with your partner in a virtual room. Here I will present you a real existing business-to-business trading metaverse and training platform as example. So we can see here a meta-human avatar, and he's walked through this metaverse platform and talking with other users. And here we can see a presentation. So this is a typical avatar so far, but he is talking between a customer and a sales regarding a new innovation project. The seller can interact with the 3D object together with the customer and at the same time and present him, for example, all the details. And this can be done globally, so it doesn't matter actually where your customer is located at the moment, because you're doing everything on this virtual platform. Here's already a scene with a new customer, and this gets a training over a customized VR training platforms without traveling to the customer. So this is quite good, or let's say a big advantage, especially you have to train a lot of new employees because of the fluctuation. And another big advantage is, as I mentioned, the customer that can repeat this training as often he needs for his new for his new employees, or let's say for new technical standards. Or he used this also yes, for training material for his new engineers in the company. So nowadays, actually, with the VR technology, there's almost not any limits anymore to use this for B2B digital trading platforms. This is a typical example regarding trade, marketing, metaverse in China. I don't know if you heard about the Baidu's Xirang. They already started global exhibitions. And I want to give you here some use case overview. So for example, sales demos, campaigns on various VR platform based on metaverse shops, or you can use metaverse showrooms or completely VR shopping centers, digital trading service, and this will be used to support companies to sell their global, their products globally. There will be possibility of new sales, fast sales, new licensing and brokerage of digital products and virtual services. Purchase of real and virtual goods, because you can also actually order in metaverse shop rooms. You see the real project. Actually, you see the virtual project, but when you order, you will get the real project. Exchange with foreign business customers in virtual conference rooms, including AI translation service. So this is actually a lot of customers already ask me if between Europe and here in China, so maybe we can talk in German and already will be translated in Chinese. So this would be quite nice. But when we talk about technical terms, then mostly there will be quite misunderstandings. So I think this will be solved in future for, I would say, in the next 1 or 2 years with artificial intelligence models and machine learning. Additional, we can use also this virtual market for research regarding the customer market, because you can imagine you will get a lot of data. You will collect a lot of data in these virtual reality rooms. Virtual education and training of complex systems. Actually, we have already a quite huge customer in Anhui, and they need to train 600 to 1,000 employees next year for their complex assembling lines. So how they can do this? So we provide them a completely virtual reality training room, and the new employees, they will sit, one will do the training, the other one sit beside them, observe this, and as soon he is successful in this training in a virtual room, then they will let him go to the assembling line. So this will be a step-by-step training. Yeah? Else there's no possibility to train them all. It's, by the way, in the automotive industry. Collaborative technical development and design, because this is also an automotive example. You have to imagine some designer are in Europe, some designer here in China. They sit together in front of a new automobile and they have to design this. So they don't need to travel anymore over to China or vice versa. They're doing this all in the virtual room. Virtual audits of supplier. Visual trading events, like today. We could also do this totally virtual, but maybe it's also always nice to meet new persons, of course, but this is mainly because of the COVID-19. And immersive virtual twins of complex products. Virtual sales to every area in the world. This would be perfect, of course, because when we talk about some places where they have not the ability, let's say at the moment to internet, but later, yes, we will have like 5G, 6G everywhere. They're going to virtual shopping malls. They can also order everything, and with the drones, we can deliver this to them. So, yeah, okay. Some people maybe ask himself if there's already all this necessary technology on the market and already partner existing on the market to customize all this digital trading platform, and the answer is clearly yes. Actually, there are more than enough already on the market. As you can see here on the Metaverse ecosystem diagram from already last year. We have here, for example, centralized platforms and decentralized platforms. The difference is decentralized platforms use blockchain technology in the background. And we can also find companies which already provide quite good avatars and meta-humans for B2B business. And here in China, under user interface, we can also find the Pico, which you already saw here on the exhibition hall. You can try later if you want, which create really, meanwhile, awesome VR glasses. And they regularly already update their VR content. So I'm quite impressed from them. And I would say after I bought one last 3 months before, to be honest, I already found here 3 to 4 different digital trading platforms. But it's not that quite used, to be honest, at the moment. Regarding, regarding economy, the customer can decide of different payment systems, dependent, of course, of his location, where he's located. And we can see here a strong or very strong infrastructure regarding cloud services, virtualization, digital twins, as well as artificial intelligence and machine learning companies which they provide you already existing machine learning models. You just need to fill them with your own data. Connectivity, internet partner, as well as marketing professionals, which they understand the digital trading quite well. But yes, we also have challenges. So everything looks quite good. But as I mentioned, we have also challenges we have to deal with. For example, we need more VR professional development, especially for fast content development and complex technical realizations. It needs to provide useful business applications to bring the customer's business forward, because only this will convince users to integrate digital metaverse platforms in his or in their daily business. VR glasses still quite heavy on their heads, so therefore we are looking forward to the VR head-mounted manufacturer to provide users a smaller, light versions, more powerful, which are more comfortable to wear and also more eye-friendly. Especially if the user needed for example, a whole day meeting during a digital trading metaverse event. Globally, still existing huge internet speed problems, which needs to be improved and invested by the government, of course. Why? Of course, we need to achieve real-time experience on the digital trading metaverse platforms. Else makes no sense. Intellectual property needs to be protected in especially metaverse rooms. Therefore, we need also clear global regulations as well as for the cross-border data. And our big topic is also the cybersecurity and data protection solution against hacking. We hear this every day. Some companies or some digital platform get hacked. And this also brings us then to the highly security solution, especially for sensitive company and personnel data. So sure, this needs time and this needs to be solved in the next few years. But we see already China starting with their cybersecurity and data protection law. So this gets quite strict now and will be regulated. Yeah, at the end of my presentation, I would like to show you a quite nice use case. Actually, this is from Chengdu, where you can recognize all this intelligence, VR or XR marketing content in a daily life user perspective. Okay, there's no sound. But you can see as soon as she set her glasses on, she will get all this digital content when she moves to Chengdu. She will provide it different information. But this is a typical technology which I mentioned before for augmented reality or mixed reality. Now more augmented reality because you cannot interact with this project, with this 3D object, sorry. So you will see the 3D content. Maybe in future you can discuss with the panda bears. Good, so what actually is your chance in the digital trading VR metaverse platforms? I just want to give you one big sentence. Make your business an experience for your customers. So this can be achieved with great marketing content, so VR content, and of course touching the feeling of the users. The big opportunities for companies are to immensely to plan in advance and then expand their current business models from a digital business to a completely immersive trading business. Thank you very much. 谢谢大家. If you, okay, last slide is gone. Good. If you have any questions, you can later come to me. We can exchange WeChat. And yeah, 谢谢大家.
Thank you, Michael. 我相信大家可能看到 Michael 给我们
Just now, Michael had depicted a picture of a virtual reality. It's not only about virtual, but also it is already a reality. VR had become the reality today. And maybe you have seen that today there is a buzz that is metaverse. So everyone is talking about metaverse, and a very important part of metaverse is VR. VR today had been developing very quickly, but of course, in the end, Michael had proposed some possible challenges for all of us. But because of those challenges, we have the opportunities. If there is no challenges at all, then what should I do? What can I do? And this is not only the opportunity for the company of Michael, but also the opportunity for all of us. And next, I'd like to share with you how we can create better user experience with digital trades. And just now, Michael already had said that the most important thing is experience. So we can start from experience. How can we create the application that is controllable and adaptable? I'm not sure whether you know about this story or not. In 2020, the pandemic had hit America, and a lot of the households in America had fallen to a status of running short of money. And maybe you would be curious about why this was the case in the States, because this didn't happen in China. Maybe you believe that the American people should be better off than the Chinese, but I believe that it is because of the consumption behaviors. They do not have the habit of depositing money, and then the American government had started some reactions, and one of the person had developed a automation programs, and it can support 75,000 of the people to apply for the relief money. And within several days, millions of the people had submitted their applications, and they're waiting for the bailout of the government.
有很多人去等政府的救济，然后因为这个审核的问题，有很多人把很多虚假的信息放在上面，带来了巨大的挑战。这某种程度，这就是人道主义的灾难。我们怎么样来去面对这样的挑战？不是因为疫情才。
So this is a disaster for the humanities. So how could we, for example, in the epidemic, to connect to the world? Our HRs are still sending emails to the employees in Beijing that haven't been affected by COVID-19. For example, share with them how to overcome the challenges. For example, you feel sick, right, but you still want to talk to others, so you could join the employees assistance program. You could select any language you would like to speak: English, Chinese, Japanese. So we know that Zoom is a quite a good platform, though actually the headquarters of Zoom is based in the United States, and also it was established by a Chinese. And also you could imagine the first day the US was on lockdown, and then the downloads of Zoom was 2 million. Actually, 2 months before this day, the downloads was only 50,000. So how could Zoom handle such a big number of downloads? Also, in China, we have the health QR code.
当然，原因可能不一样，但是我们所有用户的体
It's the same
验
case.
是一
In the
样的。
process, we have to
那怎么样来解决这些问题？
know that actually the users
我们的
had
目
a quite
标
poor experience when
就是要
there
去
was
让
a
更好
spike
的说
of
他们体
the
验改变
downloads.
世界。然后我们需要这
And
样
for
的
our
体
goal,
验。
we hope
今
to
天的
bring
应
the
用已
best
经无所
experience
不
to
在。
the world, and our
任何地
applications
方基
are
本上都已
everywhere.
经看到我们的应用，比如
You
说
could see our
就是吃了
applications
中国人这
for
是
catering,
我们最重要的一个法宝，这是我们精神理念里面的最重要的一
and
个支撑点。
this is quite
这是为
important
什
for
么
the
中国吃货
Chinese
那么流行，
people.
也让我们吃这个行业
The
在
takeaway
app 上中国
food.
估计是全球最发达。
So actually, takeaway apps are most
出
developing
行就
in
更不用
China
说
for
我们
hailing,
创造了
either
这样的一些
for
奇迹。
Didi or other
当然，
companies.
在主会上的时候也分享过滴滴为什么被罚
Also,
什么80
we
多
talked
亿
about
人
why
民币啊，
Didi
这
had
也
a
是
fine
中国
of
历史上的首次，
8 billion
罚一家公司罚了
RMB.
80多亿人民币。这里面原因何在？
Many reasons
安
behind
全
it.
或者是数据的隐私，
The
这
data
些都是
privacy
我们
and
希望
security
控制的。当然，
was
社
one of
交
the
社交最
reasons.
后只是
And for the
过去
social
的几
networking,
年，我们看
you
到
must know how
微信
important it
这
is.
些支付宝等等
And
相关
we
各
couldn't
家公
know
司都在去搞刺激。
WeChat, I
因为疫
pay
情有一个很
or
重要
work on
概念
social
也应运而
networking.
生，叫做社交距离。
So the social
我们希望
networking
保持
distance
社交距离
is coined,
物
this
理
term is coined.
但是我们精神层面上希望与这个世界
Psychologically,
一直是保
we
持
hope
着
we could
畅
stay
通
in
无
touch
阻的
with
连接。
the world,
这
though
些
we are
都
on
是我们
lockdown.
需要去
This
达
is
成
what
的。
we should overcome.
疫情
And
只是加
actually,
速了
academic
数字
is only there
疫
to
情
tell us
只是
that
提升了
apps are quite important.
应用那么多年以来，
Actually,
我们
the
可能
apps have
没有
been
太多
applied for so many years, but we do not have a feeling that
有
how
一点
important they
我
are.
感
I
触最
remember
明显的事
one
情
year
是啥？我不知道大家有没有碰到过这样的一些体验啊？
I had an experience. I don't know if you have the same feeling. One
我
day,
去四大行里面的其中一家银
I
行，
went
大概10多
to
年前，
one of the 4 major banks in the world. I
10
wanted
年前的时候
to
开
get
始需要做
some cash, probably a
但是我
decade
当时
ago.
十分惊讶，
Actually, at that time, I was
那个营业
surprised
厅
because
满满全是人，
in the
我
whole
就问那保安，
of the
今天
bank,
发生什么
it
事
was
情？
crowded. I
难
asked
道
the
发生了
security
天津
staff
挤兑了吗？还是什么？
why it
为
was
什么
so
这么多人都在
crowded.
这一个
It is because of the
营
money
业厅里
run,
面？
bank run.
那个营业那个保安告诉
Then
我，
the
是
security
因
employee
为
told
他
me
们后
that
台系统
it was
要做
because
维
that
护，
they
然后
had the
导
maintenance
致
of the
他们
back
把很多
office.
营业网点关掉，
So they
然
closed
后这时
many
候在这个营业网点
outlets.
所有的操作变成人工操作，
So all
大家已经习
the
惯了那么多年，
processing had
全部
been
是用
done
电脑去
manually,
操作。
and
这
before
时候
it was
让
done by
一
the
专案回
computers.
用人工去操作的时
So
候，
actually, they had got used to automation.
然后就导致这个
Suddenly,
速度
they
极
changed
其
back
缓
to
慢，
the
就全
manual
市
work,
开始
so
上。
the speed was
在几
quite
个
slow.
重要的这样的一个营业厅出现了这样的问题，这对我来说是什么？我们是学 IT 的，我们还知道
For me
哦，原来后
personally,
台系
I
统
learned
需要维
IT,
护，
so I could
你要
understand
不是做 IT 的，大
the
家
back
会觉得
office needed
这是
the
一个好的用户
maintenance.
体验吗？
We could understand it, but is it a good
当
experience for
然，
the general
应用的
public?
数量也在急剧地
And now
增
we
长。
have the
到
exponential
我们看
growth of
到
the
说这
number
个
of
世
the
界大概只有
applications.
10亿个应用，
And
大家
now
听到
probably
是
we
不是
have
很惊人？
1 billion
感觉我们中国人
applications.
基本上可以人手一个应用都可以够
So
10亿，
each
但
one,
是大家想过没
it
有？
is each
到
for
2025
all one
年
of the
预计会达到
Chinese,
48亿
and
个应
it
用，
is expected the number
会往
will
全
reach
球
4.8
人手
billion
一个应用
by
的角度去往前
2025.
走。你会发现，从
So each
2019到
one
2025只有6年的时
for
间，
every one of the world
翻好
population.
倍，近5倍。
So the
这么多年我
fivefold
们才知道
growth.
了这一点应用，为什么接下来的这几年会发生
But why
应用的
such
爆
quick
炸式
growth?
增长？应用爆炸，大家不要觉得说我在这儿，哎，感觉很灵活，感觉这个用户体验很好，
This is because actually, even though you feel that your apps are quite smooth, but if the back office fails to provide service, you're going to be stuck in the application. So we have to see that we are reliant on so many companies and their apps. And you must be familiar with the companies listed here. They are quite important. And but for those companies, one issue stand out: the security, either for the Facebook, Microsoft. And so actually we know that most of the companies actually have their risk in the security. But of course, Alibaba is an exception. So we hope that we could bring better user experience. But how could we guarantee the security? Here, the experience is the key. Like last night at 12 a.m., the tracking of the traffic was cancelled. Then somebody asked how to delete the data, how to make sure they are not leaked. But the three operators say they will not be leaked, they will be destroyed. But we have to wait another 2 to 3 years to see if the leakage is not, or it's just whether they have the leakage. And you could see that we have the back office IT, CIO, CEO, board members, and the general public all focus on the user experience. So how could we make sure the digital world is secure? How could we make sure our actions are secured? And so you could see several cases. First one, SolarWinds. What does it mean? It is the infrastructure monitoring.
正常这个软件公司它的软件应该过一段时间会更新，
And its software will be
它可以把它的一些恶意代码
updated,
嵌入到这家公
but
司的软
the
件里面去，但是这家公司
hackers
没有
could
意识到它的新版本被嵌入了恶意
just
软件，然后
embed
发送给
some
它全球的
this
3
malware
万个用户，
into the
过了不久，
application, then spread it to
发现
millions of the
公司发
users.
现了这个问题。大家可以想过没有？
And
也就是说，传统的以
it
为
was after several months
我
then
的手机怎么样来安
the
全，然后
SolarWinds
我这个系统怎么样
found
安全，
this
我就
malicious
别人来直
software.
接攻击。但是没想到，别人通过供应链的方式去攻击。
Actually,
也就是
they
说，
didn't expect the
我们想
doubt
我们建造
they couldn't
这个
embed
大厦
such
的
a
时候，
malicious
来为了确保安
software
全，我们的材
from
料
the
都
side of the
是
supply chain.
从哪儿指定的地点运进来的，然后我们的工人都是我们自己招的，都是我们做安全审查。
So, for
但是
example,
没想到，
one company
它在生
had
产的
made
时
sure
候
that
就已经被别人挂了安全的问题，
the
就已经被
floor
挂了安全的漏
and
洞。
the staff are secure because they have been screened, but they still had a problem because it was embedded into the floor when it was under
但是也
construction.
有很多人会告诉你，你即使把电关了，因为你不能把电池拔掉。实际上，那个手机
And also,
还是
it's the same for your
很难
mobile
被
phone.
监控去做某些事
Even
情。
if you
那当然，
power
你
it
也
off,
知道，所有的
they
智能
still
手机都不能
couldn't
把电池拔掉。
just monitor
原
you
先还可以
because
把电池拔掉，现在拔不掉
it
了。
has the battery inside. You
怎
cannot
么样来
get
解
the
决？
battery
一方
out
面对，第二个
for the current mobile
Colonial
phones.
Pipeline，
The second
这是
case
美
is
国
a
一家
Colonial
很大的
Pipeline,
油气公司，
and then it is a big oil and gas company in the United States.
因为他们经历了一
before they had blackmail for locking of their software. And because of the locking, the public in the east of America could not just refuel the oil and gas.
不是说我可以去给这个勒索的人去怎么样来谈条件。
Actually, it was hard to negotiate with the blackmailer.
支付了400万美金。
So they paid $4 million for the blackmailing.
向黑客去支付赎金不是。
Actually, it is not a good case to pay
实际的需求在那儿。
the money to the blackmailing.
Log4j.
This is the Log4j.
现在知道说 Log4j 到底是什么？就类似
The IT guy know about Log4j.
都有这样那样的开源的一些信息在里面。
Many applications have the open source information. For some small code, they will have the malicious codes embedded. And so Log4j is the fundamental module, and because of the malicious software, and the hackers could control your system. For example, in the hotel, they would install the cameras, and so you have to manually take a look and to find out those cameras. But for the IT system of the hotel, if you install such malicious software, and then the hackers could have access to those footage of the cameras. So how to solve it? Those are the challenges for the securities. And also in the second year after the epidemic in 2021, we had a lot to think about. And if we actually do not take the precautionary measures, we are going to have a big cost to pay. And for example, we know that SaaS is also a challenge. And also, we know that the digital innovators is getting your pie. What is the digital innovation? Actually, we hope you are the pioneer of the digital innovation. You should keep your share, and this is the quite important one. Now let's take a look at the security.
去真正的去掏口袋去付费，
这是最直接的一个影响。
Make the payment. This is the most direct impact. From 2020 to 2025,
整个 IT 的支出，
the expenses in IT
但是我们在安
would
全
grow by 5%. However, the investment in safety would be increased by 9%. That is to say, people are willing to spend on enhancing safety.
我们患
Why?
者的内心是怎么想，你嘴里怎么说，
No matter what you think, what you say,
证明你的真实，
only
比方
when
你的
you
动机，
pay the money
你的动机，你
can help us to understand your motivation.
当然，原先所有的角色，我们说在 IT 里面也是给人分成了不同的角色，
We have different roles in IT.
然后 SecOps。
CIO, CISO, NetOps,
他
SecOps.
们关注安全。
So SecOps responsible for security. And now, according to our latest research and survey, most of the roles in the company believe that safety and security is the top priority for them.
他们要去关注。
And they need to pay attention to security.
当然，在我们的日常生活当中，
In our daily
是
life,
不是关注安全的？这就是
do you care about security?
这3年的抗击。
And in the past 3 years, when we are controlling the pandemic, we had a lot of discussions about the correct direction to go. It is impossible for us to ignore the safety issues. We really need to make assessment of the risks and to control the risks. So not only the IT department is thinking about the security in the companies, every department in the companies are taking actions to deal with the security issues, and they are paying for it as well. Just now, we talked about SaaS. To surprise your customer, what is SaaS? SaaS, software as the service. And to simply put, you would install applications on the mobile phones, and with that, you are able to do many things. So some of the things can be done on the mobile phones, but many of the work should be done by the platform behind the mobile phones. And this kind of platform has provided SaaS. For example, Alipay, and the other types of applications such as Workday, which is very popular abroad, and also the HR management, etc. We know that this is called a SaaS. So what is the benefit of SaaS? We allow everyone to enjoy the best experience. So before, only the professionals in IT can use these services, but now even the elderly in their 80s and 90s can use these services, and this is the better user experience brought about by SaaS. But this is from the perspective of consumption. If we go to 2B side, well, we have been developing quite well in 2C, and China is taking the lead in the world. However, in 2B, there is still a long way to go. And what are the causes for the gap? Maybe because of the national conditions of China, maybe because of the difficulty in setting up trust between people. So take e-commerce as an example. Why we can break the problem of mistrust. Think about 10 or 15 years ago when we buy things. What was the experience? Did you worry about being cheated by someone? So Jack Ma had smartly solved this problem, and that is the middle layer, the intermediary. We have Alibaba and Alipay for vouching this kind of transactions. If you had been conned, then Alibaba will take responsibility, and this kind of model is a great innovation, and it had solved the problem of lacking trust in the 2C market. However, in the 2B side, we haven't addressed this issue yet. But of course, many people say that, well, in 2B, we can copy the model of 2C. Well, theoretically, it is possible, but we have all types of the legislations, including the trade laws. We wanted to solve this trust problem, but you must have heard about the debt issues, the triangle debt, and the credit owners is chasing the one who owns the money. And if you need to go through the comprehensive legal procedures, it's very costly, and many companies cannot afford it. So this is a challenge we have faced. But I believe that we will have innovative measures to solve those issues. And let's wait and see. But of course, SaaS companies have been increasing the criteria for innovation. And before, maybe just by developing an application, you can provide SaaS. And this mostly happened in the game industries. We have seen a lot of new games. But now the threshold has been increased. And you need to enhance the speed of innovation and to improve the self-service capabilities and to make the applications more easy to use. And you should have the remote measurement capabilities for data. And you need budget, you need market, you need maturity, etc. We also had mentioned that we hope everyone to be the digital innovators, digital native. Well, we really like to coin those new terms, and these are very popular terms recently. And in the native technologies, we wanted to emphasize the importance of technologies. And in internet companies, we believe that they are taking the lead in the technological development. But maybe today, the conventional institutions, including the banks, will turn into the high-tech companies, and some of the payment companies will be high-tech companies, and even some of the HR companies are turned into the tech companies. And in China, this trend is more obvious. We have Ele.me, which is a platform for food delivery, and Didi car-hailing also is quite technology intensive. Their business growth is driven by technological development, and they can access the market and reach the customers with the support of technologies, and they can also win the competition with technology. And these are all benefited by SaaS. So, pandemic had helped us to see clearly what we need the most. Only in the difficult times we can slow down and review our life, and only in those difficult times you can truly identify the real friends of yours.
记得曾经一家公司说，比如说在疫情最严。
I remembered one of the companies said that in the worst situations during the pandemic, who is the person sitting next to you? And when there is nuclear leakage in Tokyo, who is the one sitting next to you? And all of these had cleared our ways. And we need to get prepared for the challenges. And when there is challenge, we have the opportunities. If there is no challenge, it's impossible for us to seize the opportunities. So opportunities and challenges coexist. And how can we have the consistency of the user experience, and the future world will not be completely on the cloud. Instead, it will be of a hybrid mode, blended mode, and you can have your own companies and IT teams applying your business models. And maybe for some of the smaller sized companies, they would have the pure cloud-based services and the SaaS applications. So we also have the edges, public clouds, CDN, data centers, etc. Step by step, we need to set up such a complicated system. So I'm not going to the details of the system today, but we will have more flexible system instead of the rigid system than before, and we need to transition from the dinosaur-like applications to the applications that will optimize the user experience. And
看到有几家公司在给我们去洽谈一些云端的业务的时候，我才知道我多么孤陋寡闻，因为我们有一些在杭州、在南京的公司。
In Hangzhou and Nanjing, in global trade, they are very active, but maybe in the Chinese market, we cannot see them. And those companies are gradually adopting our solutions to provide the services, because when the scale of the company is still very small, maybe you won't believe that a disaster would have a big impact. Maybe it's just like 20 years ago when you take a train. Maybe the tickets sold in one booth is very limited. And I had witnessed the scenario in the Suzhou railway station, and when the system of ticket selling broke down, well, it was about 20 years ago. Of course, it would have a big impact. However, for most of the people, they won't be impacted. And maybe many people won't know about the breakdown of the system, but today, any of the system will have a large impact. Maybe it will impact the national and even global users. And the people who are impacted might be dozens and even hundreds of the times than before. So how we control such problem? We really need to construct a system connecting the front end and the back end, and to avoid the problems when we face some emergencies, and we can be more well prepared for these issues, and we can grow the business in a better way.
实际上，这句话很多人都已经讲过，未来已来。
Many people have said that the future is here, and the user experience of digital trade is here. So this customer is not only every one of us, it is also all of your customers, and it is not only about the application itself, and it's not the C end customers, but also maybe the B end customers. So I'm not sure whether you have heard about this story or not.
就是原先出租车司机半夜12点之后
After 12 a.m., do you know where the taxi drivers go to find their passengers?
当然，娱乐场所
Well,
知道。
of course, we have the entertaining events,
是凌晨2点关门。
and usually they would be closed at 2 a.m. But there is another occasion maybe you do not know about it. That is the data center of the large-sized companies.
各大公司的数据中心里面
Data centers
都是至少本科毕业、硕士毕业。
have the employees who had graduated from the universities. Some are master's degree holders, and some are doctorate degree holders. And for them, we really need to provide better user experience.
也于心不忍。我们希望
We
安
hope
全、快速、可靠的
we can provide safe, reliable, and efficient services to them. Maybe we can have the APIs and applications for
但
them.
是我们需
And
要去构建的分布式的、安全的体系架构。
This is the safe distributed architecture we want to establish, and we hope that the application can be controlled and adaptable to the needs. And we do not need to worry about safety issues, and we don't worry about reliability and trust issues. And we can, in a hybrid environment,
最优的
to
这样一个用户体验。
provide the optimal user experience. And this is from me.
刚才我讲了很多安全啊，数字安全是数字经济的基石。沈西庸先生之前是阿里集团创新事业群首席安全官，他可能比我更专业来讲安全。证监会信息安全专业工作组专家，同时也是可信云联盟联合发起人。
And next, we would have the responsible person of the national data security platform. And next, we would like to welcome the Vice President of MOSAC, Mr. Shen Xiyong. He's going to share with us the defense line construction for the digital systems. Let's welcome. Thank you very much for the invitation. So this is a very broad scale. This is a general topic. So we no longer have the travel code today. And speaking of the travel code, because the back end has been involved by the telecommunication operators and Alibaba Cloud, etc. So travel code is a very typical application of digital technologies, and this is a focus of many companies. And why we have the native risks, and what are the categories of those native risks? This is what I like to share with you today. So the digital businesses, I don't think its risks are very complicated. We can divide them into two categories. The first is the data security, and the second is the business.
好，健康码也好，等等，它可能是一个 APP， 可能是一个这个小程序，或者是一个网站。你们最担心的可能就是数据泄露，对吧？或者数据滥用等等。那么这一类的问题，那么它跟软件供应链是有一个什么关系呢？因为大家可能不清楚的是，现在的一个软件的一个构成的样。
Actually, for any of the applications, either the mini programs, you have the risk of the data leakage, and we have a test. And for example, we actually take a look at the quite frequently used an app. Actually, their percentage of the code written by the developers only 5%. Actually, I think those are not just writing code. Actually, it is only self-producing code, because they just get some part of other programs and then put them together, because they have to be quite quick to meet the requirements of the public. So we could see that we have different loopholes, and then if they're going to just bring the risk of the information leakage. And here I'm going to share with you our example that is about the geographical conflict, for example, the Russia-Ukraine war, and quite an example of the software attack. For example, they are not allowed to download the GitHub apps. And currently, many of the components are open sourced, and most of them are dominated by the US. And they should follow the US laws and regulations. So if the US is sanctioning the Russia, and those apps are not allowed to be downloaded by Russia. And actually, for some apps, if you could not have the update, definitely the security level is much lower. And then actually, they are not directly attacking your applications, but because of the modules are not updated, it is prone to the attack. And actually, sometimes you actually have no idea that your software are under attack, but actually it happened. And actually, currently, the attack to the supply is encouraged, so as to help find the problems. And actually, even you cannot see the attack from the dashboard. And also, if one system is hacked, you're going to have the ripple effect on many systems. Now let's take a look at the software supply chain and the traditional supply chain to the left corner. And actually, it is the Xcode Ghost. For one software, it needs 3 steps from development to the application. For example, the development and then the installation and also delivery. In the stage of development, probably some secrets. So here, I'm going to, from the view of the software developers, I'm going to share with you some secrets. So if we take the job, and it requires 3 weeks to complete, I will not ask the security company to do the assessment, and then I will try to copy some of the codes, or I'm thinking whether I could revise the existing codes, or actually I'm understaffed, then probably I'm going to outsource the job. What is the effect of those ways? Because actually when you are outsourcing the job, you could not know the risk in between. What can we do for those risks? And then if you're going to launch a software, we're going to do the security tests. Do 2 things. One, find a group of experts to hack this software. And second, if you have some money, then you could do the code auditing. Actually, it is not quite hard to understand. I'm giving you one example. The code auditing actually takes dozens of people to complete. And even so, they could not find whether you find the outsourcing companies. So for the digital services, actually, it has the updating on a daily basis. And then for the app, as I mentioned before, it has daily active users about 45 million. So how to make sure it is secured? And so currently we cannot satisfy the needs. And now we have a clear understanding of the structure. Now let's take a look why the authorities focus on this issue a lot. Actually, many of you probably know about this technology. Actually, in the state grid, it has many systems for security, and also, actually, for your mobile phones, you have to have the security, and also, it is same for other network and portals. We could see it has 3 features. And then, so when you are doing the development of the software, and you have to have the self-independence, because you think you are outsourcing, it is okay, but actually it has a certain risk. So you have to have the right percentage of self-development. Because, as I said before, only 5%, most of the apps, only 5% are self-developed. So when you are selecting the suppliers of the softwares, have you ever checked if they are secure in the development? Actually, we have 2 features or 2 factors to consider. And why we have those hazards in the supply chain? This is because we have been working on the supply chain for many years, but we never prioritize the security of the millions of the software developers. Their core asset is the tools to generate the code. So is it secure? Do they have the standards to follow? Negative. So that is why they are easy to be hacked. And also, it is not easy to hack them. And also, we have to know that if you're going to send a code and then you have the code auditing, then it is going to quite difficult. But why would we like to have the attack? And because then if it is successfully gets the profit, it's going to generate more serious consequence. And the last stage is the acceptance. We have an issue, for example, you cannot totally control this supply. It is only about a contract. So how could you make sure that they are not outsourcing the work? So how could you find out the true work? And those are the aspects you should focus on. And now we see we have 3 parts to focus on: the supply chain and the software development and the software application. So here we have to know our positions. So for every software, and then I never develop it. I just buy it from others. So it is only the introduction of the supply chain. So here we have to say, we have to make sure the security of the suppliers. And currently we have obtained the green software. Is it safe? Actually, not. Actually, if you just borrow it over from the green apps, actually you're going to have a big risk to run. And what is the second, the production of the software? And currently, we actually have many big companies. They do their software development in China because after development, they could easy to do the production. So for the integrity of the coding and the secure storage, do you have the right measures? So I don't think DDA is enough. So you can imagine, actually, OM is easy to do. But if you have a problem in the R&D, actually, you will not realize the risk just in a short period of time. And after the launch of the apps, what shall we do? Probably you are familiar with this part. And after the release, you have a different loopholes. Actually, leaders do not know what is 4G. Then they will say, if we have the problem, we just give it up. Actually, we have no replacement. And the second, actually, fast.json has different versions, like the Alibaba version. If Alibaba version says it is not under influence, then will you be influenced? So if you could not have the right judgment, then you will face a big problem. And now we don't think the security could solve everything. We think that the business, the software development, and the management should work on those issues altogether. And when we take a look at those issues, we could have a summary. You could see those are the standards for the approval. Then we will see whether we couldn't tell the requirements to your suppliers quite clearly. And do you have an integrated solution so as to track the relationship between all the businesses? Actually, I have similar cases. For log 4, it is updated, and then they say it is safe. Then several leaders they will say whether they should downgrade to make to stay secured. And if so, actually, you don't need to have it operate for the next months, because you have to work on it to solve the issue. Because if you have security issues after launch, you have lots of the difficulties. And some of the softwares, they are not green. Actually, we know that the OM is quite important. And for some of the softwares, even they say they are green, actually they are not. So you have to be quite careful about that. If you are not careful, you're going to be sued. And also for the loopholes, and also the supply chain problems, and the source code just leakage. Is that difficult? Actually, it is, because you have to solve it from the development.
If you monitor the frequently used codes, then you would still know that who are most likely to review those data. So all of these means that we can no longer have to post response for the data security. We need the support of the business departments and collaborate with the development department and the software providers. Only with the cooperation we can defend ourselves from those large-scale attacks. And in terms of the defense, we have two frameworks. The first is that based on the toolkit, we can check and identify the issues in a one-step way. And the second is that we know where the problem is, and also in the development of the software, we maybe have different modes of software development. Maybe you can think about the built-in capabilities. While you are developing the products, you can already start the identification and detection of the problems. And if you do not have many years of expertise and experiences, maybe it's not applicable. And later I can share with you some of the real-life cases, but I will make them anonymous. So this is a city very famous in China. I'm not telling you which city. The feature of this city is that it has launched a government administrative system, and they didn't thought about enter scalper, because this was used by the citizens, and all of the free opportunities to access the service had been get by the scalpers, and the scalpers sold out the opportunities accessing the services in high price, and the government had received a lot of complaints from the citizens, and then the government started to track down the responsibility, and there is no relationship of regulation between the scalper and the government agencies, and it's very unlikely for the administration to prevent such behaviors. And the government asked about the solution, and then they organized a tripartite meeting with the producers, the party A, and the users, and if the producer can guarantee that there won't be any problems after the launch of the software, but nobody can make such commitment, and they had made a lot of preparations and developed the assessment standards. And this is very complicated. It's not about vulnerabilities of the system, and it's about the daily toolkits used by the developers and infrastructures used by them. So if you have some friends who are the developers, you can ask them what are the code platforms they use, whether those platforms has the regular log regulations, and in the non-peak time, whether people had access to those platforms and to steal the code. I don't think some of the platforms have such log rules and log monitoring or regulation systems. If you do not have such defense lines, how can you deal with the attacks and prevent people from stealing your codes? And then after the tripartite meeting, people had reached two consensus. The first is that without the binding of the contracts with the application and the supply chains, we should help the users and the developers of the software to develop something that can assess the safety of the software. Because we know about the production process of the software, whether it's safe or not, and also now the key is not in the questionnaires or the service. The key is the continuous check of the safety of the software. If there is any inconsistency, then we would give you a lower credit score, and the result would be included in the gray list of the procurement of the government, and you are no longer one of the candidates for the procurement of the government. And this is very interesting. And with such assessment, step by step, the risks of the softwares can be assessed, and then we can very accurately prevent the emergencies. And usually when there is a vulnerability, the safety persons will go to the operation and maintenance personnel, and then people will go to the developers. But now I can tell you where the vulnerability is, and you can try to fix it. If you cannot fix it, then we can resort to the others. And this is the biggest value of this program. And this is a city of digital transformation. A lot of the companies are going through digitalization transformation. A typical case is that they have a lot of softwares purchased from external providers, and they can have the verification systems, and they also have the self-developed softwares. And in the lower right-hand side, you can see the supply chain of the softwares. And every day we are iterating the softwares, but at the same time, we have been checking the problems and removing those risk issues. And the third category a case of a very large-sized group, and this is ranking on top in China in the industry. And the feature of this program is that it is doing very well in defending the attacks, but it had raised a question that is, it is covering 2/3 of the cities and provinces in China, and whether they should have the emergency plan within a week or within a day when there is a safety issue. So this is very different. So 70% of the business had been developed by the group, and 30% of the business had been independently developed by different provinces. And our solution is that they can deploy the different tools and solutions, and before they officially launch those products, they can first go through the possible risks, and they can then launch those products in different provinces. And then the provinces will provide the data after they have launched the programs, and then we can analyze those data and coordinate throughout the whole group to prevent the risks. So these are the 3 types of the application. The first is the government application, and the second is software development and productions, and how can we coordinate between those departments to have the risk management. And the third is that after launching the software, how can we control the risks? And this is a very brief introduction of the software risk control. Thank you.
谢谢沈总的精彩分享。我觉得可能通过沈总这样一个介绍，大家
Thank you very much, Mr. Shen, for your introduction. And I believe that now everyone has a deeper understanding of the attack in the supply chains. And now we know the focus is to think about in constructing our systems. And we should deal with the risks in the process of developing the code instead of the post-mortem measure. And I believe that this is very conducive for us to improve the user experience and to have a safer system. And next, we are going to invite Mr. Ma Weishi, the Vice President of VUL AI, and he has 20 years of experience in the development, research, and management of the online softwares, and he has the experiences of managing the online independent large-sized projects, and he has over 30 patents granted. And today he's going to share with us the attack surface management based on cloud natives. And I believe that this will be a very interesting presentation. Welcome. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Ma Weishi, and my sharing today is the supply chain management of cloud native. And in order to have a better cloud native safety, we need to manage the supply chain well with the development of the technologies, especially the development of cloud native technologies. Everything can be online, everything can be programmable, and connectivity means that the world will be built on the architecture of the software, but it means that we will face the vulnerabilities and more complicated infrastructures, larger surfaces of the attacks, open source code, SaaS applications, cloud applications, digital supply chains, and social media bring us more risks, and it is beyond the scope of the assets that are controllable by the company. Therefore, the vulnerability and asset management, as well as the safe operations, had also attached more importance to the relevant technologies of supply chain management. And the new technologies and methods will in turn promote the efficient and safe operation of the company and the supply chain. So my topic today is the supply chain management of cloud natives. So first, we need to start from the supply chain management, and we will cover the areas of development trend of cloud native, the technologies for the cloud native supply chain management, as well as some of the practical cases of the supply chain management. Now let's take a look at the trends for cloud-native development. Cloud-native and cloud-native safety is a very popular dimension of business over the years. And so let's take a look at the two sets of the data. In Q1 2021, the developers around the world for cloud-native have been increased by 300,000, reaching 6.8 million. And in 2022, this data has been even bigger. So we had entered into an area of cloud-native. Everyone can be the developer, and the safety is ever more important. Now let's take a look at the deployment proportion of the cloud-native applications online. In developed countries, in 2020, it's about 60%, and in 2021, it increased to over 70%, and it's estimated that in 2024 and 25, it will reach about 9%. It's a very high number. So we can see that the rapid development of the cloud-native applications means that we need to secure the safety of these applications. This will be a core priority for people. Next, let me briefly introduce you the relevant technologies for the cloud-native supply chain management. And cloud-native supply chain management needs to start from the asset identification in the cloud-native environment. We have the unknown assets and all types of the vulnerabilities of open source softwares, and we have new applications of the cloud computing technologies, and this had brought a bigger surface of attacks, and the more circle is and the more vulnerabilities we have, and we need to understand the assets of different types, including the masters, the naming spaces, microservices, etc. And we can sense the risk based on our priorities and to visualize those risks. And the attack surface management of cloud-native needs to start the detection of the surface of attacks, and we can have the detection under development and in operation, as well as the environment and infrastructure of the supply chain. So the attacking surface detection in the development process, you must have heard about the concept of starting from the source. We need to converge the attack services. And as for the attack surfaces under development, we need to have three aspects. The first is the CI/CD process integration, and we need to identify the weak points in the process of development and to check the sensitive data. And the second is the scanning technologies with the mirror and image scanning and configuration scannings, and to check out the sensitive data in the images. And the third is that we need to simulate the systems in a sandbox and to detect the high-level threats and to identify the malicious risks that is unknown. So the online application attack surface detection also includes three aspects. The first is the container application detection. So container is the cloud-native technology with the weak points scanning and autonomous testing, as well as the audit sandbox. We can have the comprehensive detection of the risk surfaces. And the container surface detection means that we can have the weak spots scanning to check whether there is any weak points that can be used by the attackers. And the second, we can check the online applications. And the third, we can check the clusters of the containers and to have the compliance assessment. And four, we can operate the system in the sandbox environment, analyze the images of the containers, and to track the abnormal behaviors, and to identify the high-level malicious risk that cannot be identified in the static status.
And firstly, we can analyze the behavior of some containers through machine learning and identify some attack behaviors that conform to the attack framework in the real environment. And also the second is the online application attack surface detection, and this is the virtual application, and it could realize the multiple completely isolated applications on the single hardware. and it could prevent the virtual machine escape and native security. And it includes the virtual machine configuration, verification, and compliance inspection in multiple environments. And the second, vulnerability scanning can be used to detect whether the virtual machine has the vulnerability. Third, through the automated execution, detect whether the virtual machine has the ability to force through real-time operation, monitoring the rapid update of the assets and the work of the asset after which can be revised. Number 5, we can monitor the changes of the registry file system to detect some behaviors of the virtual machine intrusion. 6, monitor virtual machines for suspicious activity through the forensic analysis. And then the third one is the attack surface detection, the cloud function detection. It provides a more general abstract form of the microservice. So the attack surface detection of a cloud function, the security guarantee of the service capability is realized. It has the following steps. First, detect whether a cloud function has the vulnerabilities through the scanning. Second, through the automatic penetration, decide whether the cloud function has the weakness. Number 3, prevent the abuse of the cloud function permission by authorizing, auditing, and monitoring the use of the permission and rules. Number 4, detect some abnormal behaviors of the cloud function. So real-time production. Number 5, the cloud function is deployed controllably through the policy authorization to avoid cloud function abuse. The original 3 attack service detection. The third one is the cloud native infrastructure supply side detection. The first is the cloud environment supply side detection, which is important phases of the cloud security, also the necessary object of the attack service detection. By ensuring the security of the cloud environment, the attack caused by the weakness of the cloud environment can be effectively reduced. Cloud environment attack service detection includes the configuration and inspection compliance detection through the cloud baseline. Second, detect whether there are vulnerability, and third, detect whether there are weaknesses in the cloud environment through the automated penetration. Number 4, analyze the sensitive data and potential malicious activities through the behavior detection. Number 5, an automated recommendation can be provided to perform the necessary intervention operations according to the policy. The second of the cloud native infrastructure supply detection is the cluster and the basis of the cloud computing. It is the core component of the infrastructure, and there are a variety of technologies to achieve the supply side of the infrastructure function in order to provide a reliable security guarantee for the application. It includes providing cluster configuration verification and compliance detection function. Second, it can detect whether there are vulnerability through scanning. Third, detect whether there are weaknesses through the automated penetration. Number 4, avoid illegal nodes online through the controllable deployment. Number 5, deploy application through policy access to avoid illegal application online. Number 6, enforce container-level network isolation rules within and between clusters through identity isolation technology. The third technology is supply chain management, and we could achieve that by the attack service priority analysis and intelligence analysis. Attack service and priority analysis refer to the evaluation based on the published attack service information to understand priority of the supply chain, so as to prioritize the important content. It includes first evaluation and analysis according to the release dates of the supply side, the maturity of the code utilization, the scope of the influence, the source of the release, regularity, and other dimensions. Second, asset can be evaluated and analyzed according to the network classification of the assets. Number 3, evaluate and analyze assets based on the assets mode, open services and pools of the asset. It could provide services according to the service type of assets, such as the server or network equipment. the mail service or database service. The business purpose of the assets is the financial servant. It is a way to develop service to evaluate assets, so as to select the assets and attack services that need to be disposed of first. Intelligence generally includes IOC intelligence, supply chain intelligence, and external supply chain intelligence. Through the analysis, we can effectively discover all kinds of unknown risks to grasp important attack information before the attack. IOC intelligence can understand the possible threats to the operator environment. Supply chain intelligence can help understand the risks in the supply chain of the operators and how they affect cloud applications. External supply chain intelligence can understand the black product counterfeit app, the phishing website, enterprises information leakage, the impact on the external information and organization. The last part is the rapid response to events through the attack service response to find the problems early in application, to quickly repair their attack service response, to provide the cross-departmental coordination and the reverse of the events through a complete and open flow system. The complex attack service event management workflow is streamlined and institutionalized, and users cooperate across departments to complete the rapid disposal of the problems. At the same time, we could complete some automated vulnerability verification and repair functions through SOA tools, and achieve the scheduling of the various tools through the SOA tools so as to achieve the rapid convergence of the supply side and the rapid response of the supply chain. Here's a brief introduction to the practice of our supply management. Starting from the design, our company has turned the security management and operation into the application delivery under the guidance of the security concept marked by the automation of security. We have a focus on building a new generation of security defense system from the perspective of the attackers through the attack service management, supply side detection, and supply side response of the attack service management system. And our platform is established to protect the customers in any technical environment, including the traditional architecture, private cloud, containers cloud function, and online and offline environments. It is to provide a variety of security protection capabilities to our platform for customers, and it is to provide a 3-in-1 platform. Here are the 3 core technologies applications of the supply chain management platform: the adaptive security defense framework at the grassroots level, the risk database based on the knowledge mapping, and the AI confrontation. The supply chain management system provides various security capabilities through microservice, combined with automated scheduling and intelligent scheduling technology to deliver iterative security capabilities to our customers. The design considers the requirements of the elastic redundancy and high performance, security capability, agility, and application. With the continual enhancement of the platform capabilities, the platform can deliver more and more security capabilities and ultimately achieve a platform that delivers all security capabilities to a unified platform for all, providing customers with iterative security capabilities and a consistent user experience. In addition, the cloud-based native architecture can easily support platform localization, deployment, and cloud deployment, and SaaS capabilities deliveries. And for supply chain management, we provide a platform-level solution which runs through all aspects of the cloud-native supply chain management, providing functions such as asset cloud vulnerability management, automated security testing, extended security intelligence, risk management, etc. Also, it provides a smart network asset supply management system. And here are 3 products: the intelligent penetration, attack simulation system, and the intelligent monitoring and early warning center to meet the needs of the supply chain management. Finally, I will talk about the core technologies. It is AI security engine. It couldn't have the function like the automated scheduling and intelligent scheduling technology and data mapping technology, information processing automation technology, security capabilities, and they are integrated into the platform. So that's based on the rich data and intelligence information provided by the developed mapping security risk database. The platform combines AI with offensive and defensive data, and then do the learning and training based on the massive easy to have the threat and attack data. And also AI has previously enabled us to automatically know some abnormal behaviors and also to detect the problem, avoid attacks. Thank you for listening.
Thank
you, Mr. Ma, for your sharing. Although not sharing offline, the video clip has just brought us to a new perspective. And then we know more about the attack service because the system is more decentralized and then also complex. You are more inclined to be attacked. So it's similar in a household. And one flat is about 100 square meters. If you are going to make sure the security, you have to have the defense system. For example, you have installed the cameras. But if you live in a house of Bill Gates, it is a big house, and then you are prone to different vulnerabilities. So we think we have many takeaways from the sharing of Mr. Ma. It is quite important for us to establish long-term customer experience. That's all for today. See you next year.